I think the one other thing is that I think we're seeing a convergence with this technology where all the different pieces of the location game that are unregulated and allow these, someone asked earlier, how are they getting away with this? Well, the answer is we just haven't kept our laws up with our technology, right? And so you have cell phone tracking. I mean, we're working on cell phone tracking, which is tracking you using your GPS locator in your phone, which law enforcement can currently do secretly now with only a reasonable suspicion statement. And that's really kind of the adult version of RFID in a lot of ways. So I think that there's a lot of this stuff the legislature is starting to look at. And I personally don't think Austin is going to be able to get away with having this kind of weird tracking system for kids. If nothing else, hopefully we just don't have truancy in our courts anymore.
Thank you, Matt. And before we go to you, sir, there is a question from the back. I want to get this answered. I don't know how much longer these guys will be here. A question from Anonymous is, who is organizing and leading the charge to actually get this blocked in Northside? Have you looked at the effect on attendance in the Houston school districts that also have RFID technology? And by the way, does it actually make money? So I think those are 3 questions there. One is, who is organizing and leading the charge to actually get this blocked in Northside? I guess this is you guys, right?
Well, I think that was our 3-prong approach. So we have the attempts in the court, and the Rutherford Institute, I believe, is going to continue to press onward. So we've got that. We have the privacy advocates, which I'm going to be bringing in the cavalry. That's all of the international privacy organizations that committed to me on Friday that they are willing to step up the pressure and begin issuing press releases and really get involved. We have the media, members of the media. I have a radio program. I'm going to be on Alex Jones's show for 2 hours on Wednesday in studio. So those of you who listen to Alex Jones, we're certainly going to be getting the word out there. And then we've got Heather and Matt doing wonderful work in the legislature.
Well, then if anybody else wants to be a part of the street team, We Are Change is a part of doing the protest. We're more than welcome to help out any way we can, as far as hanging out signs, going with you to talk to the parents, helping making videos. So if y'all want to look into local, it's We Are Change San Antonio, We Are Change Texas Hill Country. We're kind of like the street team, willing to get our hands dirty and kind of the troops on the ground type deal.
Troops on the ground, right there.
And really, if I could just say real quickly, leading the charge on stopping this is you. Leading the charge on stopping this is with the community members, parents and students standing up against it. And one thing that we've created that's on everyone's chair is an unofficial opt-out form that we've created where you can an envelope that is already addressed to Northside. We actually have stamps. I'd be happy to give that to you and send it off myself after you fill it out to let Northside Independent School District know that you want to opt out of this, that it's not acceptable to have a mandatory program to track children where the district is making the decision about their health and their privacy and not allowing their parents to have a say in it. So filling this out, letting them know why you want to opt out, and insisting that they respond to your sincere request to opt out is going to be how we stop this. So I encourage you to take this with you if you're a parent or a student and give it to the people that you know that are interested in this. And let's see what Northside has to say when we have a swell of parents that want to get out of this program.
And thank you, Heather Fazio. We'll get to this question real quick. Does anyone know a short answer on the panel? I'm sorry, Andrea?
Oh, I just wanted to butt in and first and foremost, it is the community who is out there in the ground fighters. We Are Change has been a part of this since the beginning, along with Catherine and Heather and my family especially. We have all been out there. You can contact any one of us, and we'll be more than willing to help you as long as you want to fight for what you feel is the right thing to fight for. We Are Change, and my dad, who has been my biggest supporter through all of this, my family, everybody. If you need somebody to talk to, you guys can come to us. You can go to We Are Change, you can go to Chris and other Chris, and you can go to, these two beautiful ladies right here. As long as you need somebody to fight for, you need somebody to fight with, you can come up to us and we'll help you fight.
And does anyone have a short answer, a brief answer for, have you looked at the effect on the attendance in the Houston school districts? With anyone familiar with RFID, and is it making money or attendance in Houston? Okay. Okay. And you, sir, if you'll tell us your name and...
My name is Robert Rendon.
Robert, go ahead.
I live here in San Antonio.
Spring is outside Houston. Go ahead, sir.
I was at home and there was a lot of power outages and because of the wind, and my radio ended up turning back on after a while, and I heard something about this going on here. And so by Lord's blessings, I jumped up. I was trying to figure out what to do. My wife came in the living room and I told her about it. And she said, well, let me just jump on Google and I can get you a map and figure out, how we get there. It was already 5:45 and I said, well, I can't make it. I'm not going to go. And she did. She was, Catherine Albrecht's going to be there. Let me get my shoes. So I took off, made it here, and I have a little story, I have a little history with RFID. I was a bus driver here in town for 15 years, a big bus company, I won't mention their name. And they went to RFID microchipping back in January of '09. And make a long story short, I refused to take the microchip. I told them I was a Christian. I was not sure exactly what you're doing to us. There was no consent involved. So I went through the EO process, and through some manipulation and being denied a bunch of times, I finally was able to go to work and work without using that microchip on the badge, much exactly like Andrea's, same situation. I just want you to know that, but unfortunately, it brings quite a bit of retaliation. I was followed around, your house is visited regularly, people getting on the bus in the civilian clothes, messing with you. I was told I wouldn't get promoted, etc. Despite my work record, it was really good, and I looked for a career there. And as of now, of course, it's over. As of September, I quit. I was under quite a bit of stress and strain, and it wouldn't stop. After 3.5 years, I decided to quit. But I never did use that chip. They did the same thing like you're doing. They told you it's just for this, it's just for that, just to sign in to get your bus. Well, I like fitness. They put a chip in, a reader for the fitness room, so I couldn't get in there and use it. I used a certain parking lot regularly, and so they put up a gate, and then they put another reader where people had to use the chip to get to my car, so I didn't have to walk, all the way back around. Then they put just glass doors up in the middle of the hallway to the main building, and I could no longer get into the place where I worked. And I met with Vice President. I told him, well, I'm just going to retire. And he said, well, I'm sorry to hear you're leaving. That kind of nonsense. But yeah, the retaliation is real. My question's different to y'all. It's more of the other side of the coin, and that's what a lot of people may be concerned about. Is does the RFID microchip, much like the barcode, does it contain a number, and that number is 666? Does the RFID microchip, is it read precisely in the same way as the barcode with the beginning number, a middle space bar, and then the last one? There's much controversy on YouTube or in these various sites that may or may not, there's books out about it. But I think ultimately where it is or where it doesn't do, I think their intentions are always questionable, and you should question them, just like you are, Andrea and Steve. I had the pleasure of meeting them today for the first time. I want to say that where's it all going? Well, I had found some stuff many years back when I was researching all this. And I know it's going to be impossible for people to see this, but I'm going to show you. This is what they put on our badges, and that's that micro procs that they're very mundane. What would you call that? Passive chip. And the thing is that as a free people, you can't be free and be tracked. It does not doesn't make any sense. And without your consent and your body and your soul don't belong to anybody but yourself and the Lord your God. back in,
Thank you very much. And any direct questions for the panel you have?
Yes, I just want to ask if they're familiar with this item here, and I'm going to just show it to you. It's a tag, and I wanted to show the audience here. It's merely a tag. It's made of copper. During the Civil War, slaves had to wear these. And they have a number on them. And when they would leave the property, the slave had to wear that, and it had a number, and they would be approached, and that slave had to identify himself and give reason for wearing, his owner, etc. So the idea of numbering yourself, these things have a spiritual nature, and that's the side of the coin I'd like for you all to discuss a little bit more. And if, Andrea, I know your position. I feel like I know the Hernandez already. I've seen him so many times on YouTube, etc. on Alex Johnson. I'll just let you all comment. Thank you.
Thank you. And he came just hearing it on a radio show? You just heard that it was going to happen? You just jumped up and came? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so good kind of radio frequency going on. Okay, Andrea?
And to answer his question, from a religious aspect, my whole basis comes from the book of Revelations. I don't know how many of you guys have heard me say this, but I'm going to quote it to you guys anyways if you don't mind. From the book of Revelations, chapter 13, verses 16 and 17, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Now, what it's saying here is without this chip, which is the north side version of the mark, you can't participate in the economy. What the Bible is saying is you can't participate in the world's economy. What north side is saying is you can't participate in your school's economy. For instance, they segregated us. Those of us who chose not to wear our RFID tracking badge, they pushed to the farthest lunch line in the cafeteria, and they said, you're only allowed to use this one. You can't use anything else. This is your line. So, separate but equal. Kind of sound familiar? And I went to go vote for homecoming queen, and they said, no. I was like, well, why not? I have my freshman year's badge. It's real small, real thin, regular ID card. And they said, no. So I thought, so since when do you need to have a tracking chip to vote? You don't need a tracking chip to vote for president, but you need one to vote for homecoming queen?
If you do have any questions, please make sure you're in line in the next minute, and then we'll do a cutoff on the line. So if anyone else wants to, Catherine?
Yeah, this is the children's book that some people may have heard I've been working on for about 12 years now, called I Won't Take the Mark. So even though I've spent 13 years of my life as a consumer advocate, and I've testified before the Federal Trade Commission, and I've been appointed by the governor of my home state to be an RFID expert, and I've written for Scientific American, and I've done lots and lots of things that gave me lots of street cred in the academic community. When it really comes down to it, sir, wherever you went, you are absolutely right. This is entirely a spiritual battle. This is a spiritual battle that was talked about 2,000 years ago. So I have written a children's book called I Will Not Take the Mark, I Won't Take the Mark, and I do have copies here. I am not in a position to sell them, but if there's anyone here with children who would like to get a copy, I would be more than happy to give you a copy and to sign it over to your children after the event. So I did bring these. They're not publicly released, so this is a very, I guess a privileged little group here where we'll hand them out.
Thank you, Catherine Albrecht. Sir, you've been waiting patiently. Please.